Hi, my name is Jean-Pierre from Montreal. I'm a laser sailor and also the proud father of an Optimist sailor. And we have decided to run an interview with a gentleman from Greece who happens to be the world youth champion in the laser radial, but he has also a huge experience with the laser 4.7 and previously with the Optimist. So we are extremely pleased to welcome for this interview Dimitris Papadimitriou from Greece, and I'm going to ask him a series of questions. So first of all, Dimitris, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm fine here in Greece.
Great,
Uh, yeah,
great. Anyway, thank you so much for agreeing on this interview, and we are going to go through a series of questions, and the real rationale is to help people uh, evolve as sailors and also help parents and coaches to understand how to get this in the right order when you are a kid and you start maybe at 6 or 7 diopti
yeah,
and then one day you are 17, but how do you cope with all these evolutions?
yeah,
And so we are going to go one step at a time, and yeah, most free to bring all the comments and your perspectives on this. I'm very very happy to listen to you. So my first question is, if you could tell us a little bit about your career as an optimist sailor. When did you start? When did you start performing? What was the kind of practice you had? How did you start doing well in international competitions and so on?
uh, okay. First of all, I started sailing Optimist at 6 or 7 years old to a club which is near to my house in Glyfada in Athens. And after 1 or 2 years, I went to another club which were more for racing or for being a good athlete, let's say, at the Nautical Club of Vouliagmeni, which is where I am still now. Um, I was like a sailor. I was optimist sailor. I was, I could say, good sailor. And the peak moment for me in Optimist was at the age of 14, at my last year, where I went to the Worlds.
Okay, so that was your only participation in the Worlds in the Opti.
Yeah, it was the only participation for me.
Okay, that's great. So when you evolved as a sailor, as an optimist sailor, did you have some uh, sailors, people who inspired you to
Uh,
become better throughout the years?
my coach, I would say, was the most involved person for me. You know, he
Okay.
trained me. He was telling me about his results, so I wanted to make them too.
So what is his name?
His name in Optimist, my Optimist coach was Makis Nikolaidis.
Okay. Okay. Which boat is he sailing?
Now he's not sailing. He was sailing Optimist and then 420 and 470. Now he's a coach.
Okay. Okay. Um, as you know, optimist sailing is very sensitive to weight, and like
Yeah,
all dinghies, it's extremely narrow. Typically, the weight ranges that are optimal. So I was wondering what kind of weight did you have when you performed well in the Optimist?
yeah, that's true. That at sailing the weight is really need. Everyone who wants to go well has to needs to have practically. I'm not sure if that's like a wrong word. I think everyone should be like 45 to 50 kilos, but I was in like 50 to 53 kilos
Uh-huh.
because I was tall in.
You can't control necessarily how far
Yeah.
how fast you grow. Huh? Yeah, so that was we'll do the conversion, the precise conversions in pounds.
Yeah,
So your top result was in Argentina at the Worlds.
yeah, other
So
worlds, yes.
so can you comment on that race? And do you think you had a real shot to win it, or was it were you happy with your third
Yeah.
place? What was the story there?
Okay, before going to Worlds, I was really excited about going to a championship, which was not in Greece, and so the my goal was to be at first like in the gold fleet. But when I went here, I saw that I like the weather, I like the waves, and I was quite fast at trainings. So I said to myself that I have to do my best, not watching results, and I would see. I said to myself, I will see the results on the last 2 or 1 day.
Okay.
Yeah, before the last day, I think I was second. I was near to the first Nicholas, but the last day was a light day. Like I think so 5 knots. It wasn't my best, so I didn't made a good race, and finally finished third.
Well, that's pretty amazing, and you were just happy to make the gold fleet initially.
Yeah, at first,
Wow,
yeah,
that's quite amazing. That's quite amazing. So, at what age did you leave the Opti class?
yeah.
You left.
When
You were 14, 15,
at the age of 14, at the age of
14.
14, yeah.
And so, what prompted you to move to the laser 4.7?
The fact that first of all, my club laser class, and also because I didn't want to make sailing with someone else who is inside the boat. I thought that we wouldn't make it.
That was your choice there. That was the obvious
Yeah,
choice.
yeah.
So you
But
can.
finally, I think that it was the right choice. But because also my body fits better to laser.
Okay. So how was the adaptation in the 4.7 out of the Optimist?
Sorry.
How was your adaptation when you got out of the Optimist and you got into the Laser 4.7?
The first month it was really difficult because everyone in my club, in my team, in the Laser 4.7 team, was sailing this type of class for about 2 to 3 years before. So for me, it was really difficult to go and race with them because they were too good for me, you know. So I was going like step by step at all trainings with my coach, and finally at the end of the first year, I think I did it. I did it very well.
Participated immediately to international regattas the first year.
Yeah, after 7 months, I participated at the European and also at the Worlds.
So what was your weight approximately at that time?
This year was like 60 to 61, or sometimes 62 kilos, no more.
So you were trying to gain weight at the time. You were going to the gym
Yeah, I
or
was
what
trying
was
to
that?
gain weight. I was trying to gain some muscles, you know, but it was really difficult.
So you competed in strong winds, medium winds.
This
How did
year,
you place?
I think it was light winds, no more than 15 knots. Because I was
Okay,
light,
so
I
that was good
wasn't
for
so
you.
strong.
So so the transition took you about 7, 8 months to start getting comfortable in the boat there.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
It took you 7, 8 months to get comfortable with a 4.7.
I would say I was quite comfortable when I went to sail internationally. So I would say yeah.
So tell us, in Greece, what is the number of days you spend on the water per year?
Personally, I spend like 4 to 3 days per week, but
Okay.
we are sailing each month. We have no rest. We have no rest days. Our weather is really good, and we can sail the whole year.
So that's 150 to 200 days per year of sailing.
Yeah,
Very have that kind of chance, but that's basically what it takes these days, I guess, to perform internationally. So tell us about your second year in the 4.7 because there you started performing amazingly.
yeah. I would say that 2016 was one of my best sailing careers years. Before the season started, I told to my coach that I was okay with the result of the previous year, but I wanted to went much better. And what he told me is that I have to work every day and train a lot in the water and out of the water, and the result will come. So after school, I was going every day for training, for biking, for sailing. It was up to the program, and finally, I think I did it really well.
So can you tell us what was the focus of your training? It was cardiovascular, and then you had weight and
First
kind
of
of.
all, I would like to become more stronger and take some kilos to become like 65, 66 kilos. And half of a year before the international championships, I started doing a lot of bike trainings for for cardio. And 1 or 2 months, I started doing everyday sailing in the water.
So you have good people to train with in at your club.
Yeah, I think I'm really lucky because in my team we are like 5 to 6 people we are all in the same age. Like I'm the smallest, but and the younger is 18, 19. So we are a bit all in the same age. We are have all the same program, and we have all the same goals. So we are moving all together to new categories, and we are training every day together.
That's great. We I was so pleased to watch these videos of you at the
Yeah.
at the Worlds, and that was a bit of a suspense, huh? That last race there, you
Yeah,
didn't know.
in Kiel. I remember it.
So what did it take for you to have this huge advance on the rest of the fleet? You had it was you being fit and knowing controlling the race there. It was quite astounding. Huh?
I would say that this year was like I preferred more heavy wind, and I know it.
Okay.
I know also that I was much faster than I would say that the rest of the fleet. So before the last race, that I saw that the breeze was coming. It was like 25 to 30 knots. I told my coach, that's my chance to win the championship, and he told me that the only thing I can do is only to hike as more as I can, and that's why I think I made such a good distance from the second.
It's pretty impressive. I invite all people watching this interview. I'll put the link to because
Yeah.
there is very extensive video footage of of that race. So it's really it's pretty impressive. So that was your main result, but you also won the Europeans, isn't it, in 2016?
The Europeans were a different championship different same goal but different championship, different place, but with the same athletes. In the same in this championship, if I remember well, also I win this championship in the last days or in the last race. With the same, I would say, goal to hike hard at the last race because the wind came up again. It was like it wasn't 25 to 30 knots. It was like 20 knots.
Okay. So this is a very competitive fleet in the 4.7.
Yeah, I think first of all, I think that Optimist and Laser Standards are the most competitive fleets, and then Radials, and then 4.7. But also in 4.7, the Gold Fleet, or in World Championship or in European Championship, all the first 20 to 30 boats are really good, are really fast, and everyone deserves, I think, a medal.
Okay. So 2016, you decided to move to the radial then.
Move.
So
Yeah.
what was the deciding factor? Because you could have done an additional year in the 4.7 if you wanted.
Yeah, that's right. After winning European Worlds, my coach told me that you have to move on. You can't stay in this category anymore because I won, let's say, everything. But we both knew that it was a really difficult job for me because I was like 65, 66 kilos, and the top kilos, for example, in Radial was 44. 74, sorry.
Okay.
So I knew that the job I had to do was two times more difficult than of last year.
Okay. So that was additional time in the gym and training.
It was training a lot. The first months I had I was every day at the gym in order to gain the kilos. I was eating enough. I could say too much. Uh, and I was trying. The most important thing for me it was to gain the kilos and to be able to go fast boat at the strong winds. And at the last months, like 6 to 7 months before the internationals, I had to make a better cardio.
Okay. So you were able to combine that with school and with your social life and.
Yeah, exactly. It was really difficult for me, but I think I did it well.
So is school very close to the
You know.
sailing club and home is close to the sailing club? Is it easy for you
Uh,
to combine all of this?
yeah, exactly. My school is like 20 minutes from my house, and my house 10 to 15 minutes away from my club. The gym also is near to my house, so everything is near.
So you bike in between?
No, I'm not biking because there's a lot of traffic. I'm biking on Saturdays, Sundays, early morning, where traffic is not that much.
Okay, so you're organized at least. Huh? So what is your take about the 4.7 versus the radial? These are two different boats, obviously. What's your take on these two boats?
I would say that Laser 4.7 is a smaller sail. So same sailors but less kilos.
Okay.
It's also a really difficult category because the boat is not moving so fast, extremely mainly on downwind because waves are big and the boat is heavy for this type of sail. So there's different kind of trimming, sailing, taking the waves. Everything is more difficult and is more different.
Okay. But
So
you
Radial and 4.7 are different categories, I would say, and need if you want to make to go to another category, you have to adapt a lot of things in your technique.
Yeah. So currently your weight is about what? Yeah.
My weight now is 73, 73 and a half.
So
I
you're
would uh, I would like to gain some more 1 or 2 kilos.
so I was myself sailing the laser. I've been sailing it for I won't tell you exactly how many, but it's a long time. I was
Yeah.
university champion in Belgium in the laser
Oh,
once upon a
congratulations.
time. But what I know is that you are very close to the weight of the full rig, isn't it today?
To the weight of?
Yeah, for the full rig for the stand-up laser, you are very close to the optimal weight there.
Yeah, I would say that because I have already sailed the standard or in 2 championships, in the Balkan Championship and also the Greek Championship. I would say that the best kilos for sailing standard is like 82 to 83 kilos,
Mm-hmm.
and if someone wants to sail standard, has to be at least 79.
Yeah, yeah. So you're getting close. So you think you're going to
Yeah, I
at
will
some point
move.
get to the standard
Yeah, I'll
and
move on standard at after the ISA Worlds in December. So then I'll celebrate, for example, for let's say this year, and then I'll move on to standard.
okay, and that's going to be youth sailing, or you're going to do the regular international races.
I will also say, I would say the under 10 one, and also the men's fleet.
So you want to get to the Olympics?
That's the far goal, let's say.
Yeah, to the
Yeah,
2020.
yeah,
Okay, it's not that far away, huh? It's but that's good. It's going to
yeah. That's
be
why I'm trying to move on to categories so fast. That's why I'm trying to gain kilos and getting stronger each year.
so. Who are your favorite sailors in the laser class? You see, who are the guys you
Yeah.
think are quite amazing?
First of all, my best the sailor I love more is Pavlos Kontidis,
Okay,
and then Nick Thompson.
yeah,
I think first of all because Pavlos, I have seen him sailing and he's really strong. I think he's the stronger sailor right now,
he's world
and
champion, isn't it? He
yeah,
won, huh?
he's the world champion. And he's training really hard every day. He never stops training for nothing. And Nick Thompson, because after doing the back to back for me, I saw that it was really difficult. And when I think I'm not, I think on 2015 and on 2016 also won the world. So I saw that it was something really difficult. So that's why I believe he done something really extremely good.
So you realize that these sailors have been sailing the laser for many years, huh, to get to the level they are, and
Yeah,
it's years after years, and sometimes the the getting the world championship is very close, but it takes another 3 5 years to get to the top, huh?
yeah, exactly. I think it's because I saw them sailing in Barcelona last week. I think it's really difficult for a sailor, for a young sailor, to be in the gold fleet.
I'm pretty sure that you
Thank you.
know which way to proceed to get there, but that's I think you have had the recipe so far, but it's yeah, it's going to be hard for sure. This is competitive Olympic sailing. Um, have you ever contemplated going to double-handed at this point, or you it's going to for some other time?
I have done some trainings in Tornado with the world champions. With the world champions, Trigonis and Paschalidis. I liked it really well, really much. Uh, these boats are really fast and are really difficult and different from the type of sailing that we are doing.
Yeah, and Tornado is not Olympic, and the Nacra is very lightweight, so you will need to
Yeah.
lose
Yeah.
the weight.
Yeah.
That would be the, and it's completely different racing, isn't it?
Yeah.
The start on the port to avoid taking attack. It's kind of
Yeah, these boats I think are more technical and less tactically. Lasers, Optimist 470 are more tactical boats and less for technique.
Yep, it's exactly what it is. It's a completely different approach to sailing, and you have the skiffs also. But you heard that Robert Scheidt is now sailing the 49
Yeah.
now.
It's not sailing?
49er.
Yeah. I know it. I think that he's doing a really good job, and I think that he will be in the medals in 2020.
He's going to have to work hard because I think he's not yet there. But it's quite amazing how he was able even to in Rio to be very
Yeah.
close to the podium at his
Yeah, that's why I think
race.
he's the best sailor who has who has ever sailed a laser.
Have you met him? Have you seen him sailing?
No, never.
Okay,
I
that will
was
come.
never lucky.
It will come. So I'd like you to tell us a little bit about your advice to kids. I have a kid. He's 13 years old. By the way, behind me, it's a painting
Yeah,
of him. He was sailing at age 7. There, you see in the Opti.
yeah.
And but I was just wondering what kind of advice you can provide to Opti sailors to keep on sailing. And I give you very
Uh,
clear background here is that many sailors give up sailing in Canada. They do the Opti and they stop, or they do the Opti a bit of the laser and then they stop. Many kids don't continue sailing. So I was wondering what kind of advice you could provide. You could provide them.
First of all, I would say that I would tell that Optimist for me is the most difficult class, and the only thing that they can take as a result from Optimist is a lot of tactical things that they will use them to other classes. For me, I think for laser, and everyone who hasn't sailed Optimist, it will be really difficult to see them or to find them when you are sailing a bigger class. Also, sailing Optimist is really difficult because at the Worlds, I think, are racing like 400 boats. So there is nothing like a laser Worlds where we are like 250 boats. Also at laser, I'm talking about laser because that's what I'm sailing. I would say that at laser there are not that many camps, sailing camps, or that many regattas. So every sailor who has the money to go, I would suggest him to go to every regatta, because if he is not gonna win or he is not gonna be in the top 10, he will have some results in his technique, in his tactic, and he will win a lot of things.
Okay.
After finishing Optimist, I think that each sailor who can finish Optimist at the last stage, he has to, because he will have a lot. He will take a lot of things, and then he has to move on or to 420 or to laser or to other categories like 29ers. But that's up to him. For example, if someone is strong and quite tall, I think the best category for him is laser.
Okay, 4.7.
Yeah, laser 4.7.
Yeah, and you may be aware of this, but in North America, the 4.7 is extremely inexistent. You see, and I'm working with a few people, including a coach,
Yeah.
Agustin from Argentina, who is a coach in Halifax to try to bring the 4.7 as the logical laser choice after the Optimist, because many people go to the Radial and then if there is wind, they have a real
Yeah.
problem, and have a real problem. And unfortunately, it's one of the reasons people give up on sailing, because it's just too hard. Many girls, you see,
Yeah.
they may be 110 or 15 pounds, 50, 60 kilos, and they are in the Radial, and there is a problem. But anyway, that's you gave us a lot of your perspectives. Um, you you know a little bit of French.
Yeah, I spoke a little bit French.
Okay, so because here in Canada there are French-speaking people, so you can say hello in French.
Allô, comment tu
Okay.
t'appelles?
Oui, moi je parle français évidemment. Anything else you want to add to the interview? Any kind of suggestion? Any perspective
Yeah,
you
the other
you
suggestion I would like to say to young people is to stay on 4.7 as much as they can, because also to Radial, because from each category you take something, and there's no reason to go to a bigger category to more difficult things if you don't know the main things. So there are I have seen a lot of people from Greece, from other countries, who are like young, 60 kilos, and they are racing radial or standards. And I'm asking them, what are you doing here? You may have, he told me, I want to go to difficult category and learn a lot of things, but that's not true, because when you are small category and you are participating at the top level, at this category, you gain much more things from than being more difficult. So the other thing that for every sailor who is sailing, I think it's really important for them to making some gym sessions or bike sessions or cardio sessions, because laser is a type of sailing which needs a lot of gym train, and if someone is not doesn't have it and wants to train a lot of time in the water, he maybe has back problems, leg problems. He will be always at the doctor.
Okay, okay. So this is very wise advice you are providing. I have to thank you so much. And well,
Yeah,
I think this interview will be watched by many sailors. So I think everybody is going to thank you so much for your collaboration.
yeah,
And let's keep in touch. Who knows?
yeah. It was my pleasure. Thank you.
So, thank you. I'll stop the
Bye.
broadcast just right now.